Good morning, students. This is our third part of civics, chapter chapter number 2, federalism. As in the previous part, in part second, in this chapter, we have discussed that how we call India as a federal country, and how the in Indian government, in Indian democracy, we involve the three types of list. First one was union list, second one was state list, and now in this lecture we are continuing the part third of chapter 2 of civics for class 10th, and the title of the chapter is federalism, the concurrent list. That what subjects which are included under the concurrent list? It includes a subject of common interest to both the union government as well as the state government, such as education, forest, trade unions, marriage, adoption, and succession. Both union as well as state government can make laws on the subjects mentioned in this list. If their laws conflict with each other, the law made by the union government will prevail. That there are certain subjects which included the education, forest, succession, marriage, adaptation. These are the subjects which come under the concurrent list, and the state and the you can say central government both are having these subjects, and if there are some conflicts between state and the union government regarding these subjects, then whatever decision will be taken by the union government, it will be accepted, it will prevail, it will you can say it will lastly it will be accepted by the whole country people. Now what about subject that do not fall in any of the three lists that we have discussed? Union list, we have discussed the state list. Yes, under union list we are having the banking, foreign affairs, and communication and currency, and in the state list we are having police, trade, commerce, agriculture within the state boundary, and in concurrent list education and forest, trade unions, marriage, adaptation, etc. Now what about the other subject that do not fall any of three list, or subject like computer software that came up after the constitution was made? And now when this constitution was made, that there will be the three list in India. When we talk about the democracy in India, that union list, state list, and the concurrent list. After that constitution, the computer software came up. So where these types of subjects are included in which type of list? According to our constitution, the union government has the power to legislate on these residuary subjects. So the remaining subject will come under the central government, or you can say union government list. We noted above that most federations that are formed by holding together, I have discussed with you, holding together do not give equal power its constituent units. Thus all states in Indian Union do not have identical powers. Some states enjoy a special status, like Jammu and Kashmir has its own constitution. Many provisions of the Indian Constitution are not applicable to this state without the approval of the State Assembly. Indians who are not permanent resident of this state cannot buy land or house here. Similar special provisions exist for some other states of India as well. That the conflict arises when we say that under the union government list there are some states which are having the special status of power, as in Indian case the Jammu and Kashmir is having the special states power, as any other state people cannot buy land without the permission of State Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. So these are the some special powers which is given to the some particular states in India. That's why there is always a situation of conflict, that some constituent assembly is having certain powers, they are enjoying certain types of power and freedom under the federal country, while other are not having the same power, same type of power. There are some units of the Indian Union which enjoy very little power, while on the other hand there are some Indian state which are having very limited power. These are areas which are too small to become an independent state, but which could not be merged with any of other existing state. And it happens with the states which are very you can say very area wise they are very short, they are not so big states, and that's why they cannot be counted as an independent state, but at the same time they cannot be merged with the other existing states. These areas like Chandigarh, Lakshadweep or the capital city of Delhi are called union territories. So these states which are not so you can say big on itself, that as an independent body, and they cannot merge with the another state, and these included the Chandigarh or Lakshadweep or the capital city of Delhi. They are called union territories. Chandigarh, Lakshadweep and Delhi are known as a union territory. These territories do not have the powers of a state. On these union territories, including Chandigarh, Lakshadweep and Delhi, they are not come under the powers of a state. The central government has special powers in running these states. It means in Chandigarh, Lakshadweep and capital city of Delhi, the central government or the union government has its power to control or to running these three states, as they are not having the powers like the independent state like UP and other state like Uttarakhand. Now, this sharing of power between the union government and the state government is basic to the structure of the constitution. It is not easy to make changes to this power sharing arrangement. The parliament cannot on its own change this arrangement. Any change to it has to be first passed by both houses of parliament with at least 2/3 majority. That when we are saying that under the federalism in India there is a division of power between union government and the state government, and it is the basic structure of our constitution, that if we want some change, that we want some change, that this power sharing should be changed, that we want to give more power. For example, we can say that we want to give more power to the union government, or we want to give more power to the state government. Any type of change cannot be possible only by our own wish, as it takes a great, you can say it involves a great arrangement. And the procedure, if you want to change something regarding the power sharing between union government or the state government, the parliament cannot on its own change this arrangement. Only parliament by itself cannot change this division of power. Any change to it has to be first passed. If you want any change, that change should be passed first by both the houses like of parliament with at least 2/3 majority. That at least 2/3 of majority should be pass this any type of changes to the both houses of parliament, and majority should be 2/3. Then it has to be ratified by the legislature of at least half of the total states. And after that, the next step regarding the changes of power between central and the state government, that after passing the both houses of parliament the changes, then this change should be ratified by the legislature of at least half of the total states. That if in our country that how much state we are having, that half state should be in the favor of this through the legislature to this change. Now, the judiciary plays an important role in the overseeing the implementation of constitutional provisions and procedure. Now, the role of judiciary, that when we say that power sharing included that we divide the powers between central and the state government, and then the role of judiciary, that what is the function of judiciary when we say the federal country, that judiciary plays an important role by overseeing the implementation of the all constitutional rules and the procedure in case of any dispute about the division of power. In case of here we are talking about especially the judiciary section, we are talking about that overseeing the sharing of power between center and the state government. If there is any type of conflict and dispute arises among the between the central or the state government, the high courts and the Supreme Court make a decision. Who makes a decision? The high court or the Supreme Court. The union and state governments have the power to raise resources by levying taxes in order to carry on the government and the responsibility assigned to each of them. Here, the union and the High Court and the Supreme Court having the power to take any decision regarding to solving the dispute or conflict between center or the state government, and then the union and the state government, they have the power. Now, what power the union and state government is having? That they have the power to raise resources by levying taxes. Yes, here the state and the central government is having the power to impose taxes in order to carry on the government and the responsibility assigned to each of them. That here the government, both government are free to impose the taxes on the duties, on the custom duty or on the trade, on the citizen, that how they are performing their responsibility to run the government, and here they both are free, the state government and the, you can say, central government. Now the question arises that how is federalism practiced? That we are saying that India is a federal country, India is a democratic country and the federal country. Now the question arises that how federalism implemented in the country like India. Constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. Very important thing, that whenever we say that democracy or any type of federal government in India, then there should be a constitutional provisions which are very necessary to get the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. Yes, if the federal experiment has succeeded in India, it is not merely because of the clearly laid out constitutional provisions. That if we take the example of our own country, India, which government, that the democracy involves a federal system of, you can say, government, that whatever success we have achieved under the federalism to run the country, the second largest and seventh largest populous country like India, then we cannot give the whole credit to only that to the constitutional provisions which are written in our constitution. That because why? The real success of federalism in India can be attributed to the nature of democratic politics in our country. The credit goes to the democratic practices, whatever democratic practices are involved in our India, the credit goes to these practices, as that we are free to elect our representative, that we elect our representative by our votes. It shows that we are identifying and educated up to the 18 age of young generation is very much aware that which representative is responsible and which will be the best for running the democracy in our country. So these are the practices which allow under democracy, that which helps to run the federalism smoothly in our country like India. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity and desire for living together, became shared ideals in our country. It means that when we having the practices, political or democratic practices in country, then it gives us the power which is smooth, which make the practices of federalism very smooth. And when the spirit of federalism becomes very smooth, then it is because of we respect for diversity and the desire for living together, that we all people are having the mindset that we believe in brotherhood and we respect each other diversity in terms of culture, language, religion, and we all are ready to share each other ideals in our country. So these are the main reason that why and how the federalism practice smoothly the country like in India. We cannot give the whole credit that the constitutional provisions are very helpful. It is all about that how we are implementing, how we are taking the idea in a very positive manner. Let us look at some of the major ways in which this happened. Now we are talking about the historical perspective, that how it becomes very easy to practice federalism in the country like in India. Now the linguistic state. The creation of linguistic states was the first and the major test for democratic politics in our country. That when we talk about the power federalism practice in India, then we first chose the linguistic state. That when Indian government created the linguistic state, it was the first and major step to show our democratic thinking in our country. If you look at the political map of India, when it began its journey as a democracy in 1947, when the India got freedom from the Britisher, and we start our governmentship under the democratic rule, that of 2013, and we are talking about from 1947 to 2013. You will be surprised by the extent of the changes. That if we trace the history from the Indian independence to 2013, now 2020, we are going back so many years back. That if we then we will surprise that how many changes took place in Indian politics to support the democratic way. Many old states have vanished, they are totally disappeared, and many new states have been created. That many older states just you can say come to an end, and we come out with many new created states, and that and areas, boundaries and name of the states have been changed. Even the boundaries of the states and the name has been changed. In 1947, boundaries of several old states of India were changed in order to create new state. This was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language lived in the same state. Some states were created not on the basis of language, but to recognize differences based on the culture, ethnicity or geography. These include states like Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. That on which basis the new states has created and the older state has merged into one. That on the basis of the language, culture and geographical condition, they divided the state, they changed the boundary, they given the new name to the states, and these states included Nagaland, Uttarakhand and Jharkhand. That how we come out with the finest idea of to support the diversity and democracy of our country. Then when we created the linguistic states, when we changed the boundary and the name of the states to support the, to favor the or to respect the diversity of our nation. Now that when the demand for the formation of states on the basis of language was raised, some national leaders feared that it would lead to the disintegration of the country. That at the same time, when demand of the formation of new state and separate state emerged between the among the people on the basis of language and the culture, that some leaders thought that it will be very harmful for the brotherhood, and it will create some types of differences within the country among the people. The central government resisted linguistic state for some time. That's why that the central government remain on the linguistic states for some time, but the experience has shown that the formation of linguistic states has actually made the country more united. But it was not so. That the result of making the linguistic states was very nice and very good. That the people felt very united when they divided on the basis of linguistic states. It has also made administration easier, and the administration system was also became very easier and smooth when on the basis of linguistic states the India divided the different or created the different new states after the independence up to the 2013. Now language policy, when we are talking about that, how what we are studying how the federalism practice in our country, the country like India, first with the help of formation of linguistic states, and now we are talking about the second step which has taken to make the federalism smooth in country like India, the language policy. A second test for the Indian Federation is the language policy. Our constitution did not give the status of national language to any one language. The best thing you have to learn that in Indian constitution Our Indian constitution hasn't given any special status of national language to any one language. Hindi was identified as the official language. Hindi was identified as the official language, but Hindi is the mother tongue of only about 40% of Indians. Among the 100%, 40% Indian speaks Hindi as their mother tongue. Therefore, there were many safeguards to protect other languages. Besides Hindi, there are 21 other languages recognized as scheduled languages by the Constitution. First thing, that when we say about language policy, that in our Indian Constitution, no language has given as a status of national language. Hindi has given the status as a official language, and it is the language of 40% people in India. Therefore, remaining 60%, which are also different languages, it becomes very necessary to secure, to feel them safeguard, to protect other languages. So besides Hindi, there are 21 other languages recognized in our Indian Constitution as scheduled languages by the Indian Constitution. A candidate in an examination conduct for the central government position may opt to take the examination in any of these languages. You should understood this point, very important, that 21 languages, except besides Hindi, 21 other languages also have the status of recognized scheduled languages, that a student or a candidate who is giving the examination for the central government post, he can or she can opt any medium of paper in terms of language among these 21 languages, with Hindi also. States too have their own official languages. The other states in India also having their own official languages. Much of the government work take place in the official languages, and much official government work has been done in the official language of the concerned state. Whatever state we are talking about, like in Uttarakhand, we opt the Hindi as an official language to whatever work has been done in the various department, the government department in Uttarakhand, it has done in the Hindi language. Now, unlike Sri Lanka, we will take the another example. Unlike Sri Lanka, the leaders of our country adopted a very cautious attitude in spreading the use of Hindi. According to the constitution, the use of English for official purposes was to stop in 1965. We are talking about in Sri Lanka. In 1965, English was stopped for using the official purposes work. However, many non-Hindi speaking states demanded that the use of English continue. In Tamil Nadu, this movement took a violent form. The central government responded by agreeing to continue the use of English along with the Hindi for official purposes. That in Tamil Nadu, the central government responded by the central government agreeing that they will continue the use of English along with the Hindi for official purposes. That in Tamil Nadu, the government official works has been done and continuing with both language in English as well as in Hindi. Many cities think that this solution favored the English speaking elite. Promotion of Hindi continues to be the official policy of the government of India. Promotion does not mean that the central government can impose Hindi on the states where people speak a different language. The flexibility shown by the Indian political leaders helped our country avoid the kind of situation that Sri Lanka finds itself. That up to the second point, language policy in Indian constitution, we prefer the languages mainly Hindi and English in some state like the Tamil Nadu, that both languages used in the official works, and the purpose is that so that there should be a maintain the balance between the languages, and we will not discriminate on the basis of languages when we give the official language status to a particular language in one particular state. So it is all about that how federalism practice under the you can say democracy. First, the creation of union state, linguistic state. Second one is the language policy, how it has adopted in India, and Now the current state relation, we will talk about it later. In this chapter we have, in this part we have talked about the concurrent list. Then we have talked about how the federalism practice in India by the language policy, and the, you can say, with the formation of new creation of the new state, that the linguistic states. Do your homework, make notes, and whatever you are listening in the video, you can quote, you can make your own notes step by step, and do the homework daily. Goodbye, God bless.